Hi, this is Imagine Landscapes. Let's talk about tying knots to remove jogs in knitting in the round when we're striping. So when we knit in the round, we like to think about ourselves as like stacking up bracelets, like it's Madonna's arm and it's 1984, and like we're knitting a round thing and we're putting a round thing on top. But we're not stacking bracelets at all. What we are doing is building a spiral staircase so that by the time we get around to here, we've gone up. We like to think that we're knitting bracelets and we're stacking them like this. But the truth is we start knitting here, we go around and around and around. And by the time we come here, this bit needs to stack on top. And it's this difference that causes the jog, right? So we've got this instead of this. So to get a jogless join, we somehow need to take something that's stacking up and kind of pull it down and horizontally level. And depending on the project, you can just use knots to make this happen. I've already tied knots here at this join, here at this join, and here at this join. Now I haven't blocked this, so the stitches are a bit wonky. You can see here I haven't tied the knot. And when you look, you can see right here I've got a red stitch and a purple stitch side by side, rather than the purple stitch being underneath and the red stitch being on top. So let's talk about how we're gonna deal with that. Now flip it inside out. I'm gonna find that join and I'm gonna pull on these until it looks like the stitches are about the same size as the stitches around them. Because as we work, these loosen up and they don't, they make bigger stitches on either side. Then we're just gonna tie an overhand knot like we're in kindergarten tying our shoes. So one over the other and pull it through. And pull it nice and tight. Now we journey over to the other side and we see how it looks. Well, I'm pretty sure that I'm about here. If I put my finger underneath, yep. And that looks pretty much like two bracelets stacked on top of each other. So I'm happy with that. So I don't need to make any adjustments. Since I've double checked, now I'm going to make another overhand knot. And then I'm going to weave in those ends. And that's all there is to it. Just tie knots. I know that you've probably been told never knit knots, but we're not knitting the knots, we're tying the knots and weaving in the ends. When maybe your grandma said never knit knots, she was probably talking about the knots in the yarn when you get it from the ball of yarn, and the knots in the factory when they snag it or they need to join new yarn. Those knots are terrible. And if you knit those, the odds that they will come apart and then the front of your sweater will have a giant hole in it are really high. But again, try knots. Might simplify your life a lot. I hope this helps. Happy knitting and happy knotting.